Have you ever been in a situation where you have invoiced a customer or a client and they don't pay? If you have it, congratulations, you're in the very small percentage of people, or maybe you don't invoice customers or clients, that's okay. But this video is all about trying to help you get money in the door quicker when you send out invoices or you send out some kind of way for your customers to pay you, and there's a lag time, there's a wait there. So this video is all about accelerating cash flow in your small business. If that sounds interesting, please stay tuned, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel because this is the type of stuff I like to help you guys with. I work with virtual CFO clients, and we see lots and lots and lots of different situations. We see lots of different invoicing practices, and this type of information that I'm bringing to you guys today is coming from what I'm seeing out in the world, what's working, and maybe it can help you too. So here we go. These things that I'm going to bring to you guys today, most of them are really going to be more for types of businesses that invoice their clients. So a lot of service-based providers, or maybe you're selling larger equipment and you are invoicing customers and things like that. This might not be as applicable to point of sale businesses and, maybe e-commerce type of product businesses where you are literally somebody's buying and they're paying right there. However, there are a couple of these tips that could help any business. So just, keep that in mind as you're going through. This won't apply to everybody, but go and cherry pick the ones that you think might help you in your business. The first one is to consider taking a deposit, or how can you push the dollar transaction early? And I just want to bring this up because sometimes we have it in our heads that if we're providing a service, we can't bill a customer until the service has been performed. However, that's not how all people want to do business. Some people want to prepay and they just want to know it's off their plate, and then you can provide the service. So I really encourage people to think about, can they take a deposit whenever they start work with anybody? Can they take a deposit? Is that something that could work in their industry? And then if it's not, maybe you can be an industry disruptor, and that's okay. The other thing is to consider, is this something that I'm doing where I could offer the option to prepay 100% upfront? What that gives you is it gives you cash in your hand before the work even starts, and you have that security, especially if you have employees that you're going to have to pay payroll, or maybe supplies that you're going to have to buy. We always recommend trying to get as much cash upfront as possible. And this can be done by putting it into your contracts or putting it into your agreements with your customers or your clients. Now, this doesn't work everywhere, but it's the first thing I wanted to bring up today. The other thing I want to mention about that is that some customers want to prepay. Think about, maybe year-end tax planning and stuff. They might want to say, ooh, I want to actually pay you $5,000 for that photography package, even though I'm not doing it until March, because I want to get it off. I want to get that expense into the current year. So offering the option to have customers prepay can be a very good thing and a win-win for both parties. The second thing I want to mention is that we need to shorten the time span between, if you're not prepaying or any other situation, you want to shorten the time span between when the services are rendered or whenever that thing is done and when you actually invoice. So shorten that as quickly as possible. Invoice as quickly as possible. Get the invoice out, because once you get an invoice out, you're going to have something on there called terms. And that is what the customer has to abide by in order to pay you. So a lot of times we call it a net 30. That means we send the invoice out and the total is due in 30 days. So keep that in mind. If you wait 10 days to invoice and then you send out a net 30 invoice, it's all of a sudden now taking 40 days for that cash to come in. But if you invoiced on day one, then it's a 30-day, expectation of when that cash will come in. Okay, so make sure you're cutting out that timeline at the very beginning between services rendered and invoicing. All right, so if you have a team that's doing this, make sure that they understand the urgency as well, or an individual on your team. This is a high value activity. Invoicing your customers and clients is a high value activity. So make sure you as a business owner are keeping an eye on that, and you are making sure that that doesn't become delayed, or maybe somebody goes on vacation And then, oh yeah, 7 days later, that might get looked at, okay? So just keep that in mind, that those types of things can really delay cash flow and put you in a potential challenging situation. So let's shorten those days. The next thing I want to mention is that customers like options. Clients like options, don't they? We all like options. So give them options when it comes to payment. And you might say, Hannah, I stopped taking credit card payments because it was too expensive, or I had to manage all these different things. And I understand, I have a lot of concern on, having 27 different places to take money. And it can be challenging from an accounting perspective too, to have money coming in from lots of different places. But I want you to think about how the customer can be flexible in paying you. So maybe you don't give them every single option under the sun, but you do want to give them the option to pay you via ACH, because ACH is the cheapest, quickest, best form of payment. You want to be able to take checks if that's something that you have the capacity to do and it makes sense for your business. And taking credit cards, even though you might not like it and you don't want to take the credit card fees, using credit cards is a way to accelerate cash flow. And so I 100% agree with those people that say, oh, but I don't want to have the 3% or the 4% expense related to accepting a credit card. I totally understand. I don't like it either. But I want to tell you guys about a software that I came across it's a service, a software service. It's cloud-based. So it is called Melio. Melio is a tool that you can use to help still give your customers options, but you do not bear the cost of those options. And I want to tell you about that real quick, because I came across this and I was like, this is huge. This is such a cool tool and it's free to use. The only thing that gets charged is the transaction fee on a credit card. So what you can do through the system is you can actually send invoices to your customers, and then they can choose how they want to pay you, ACH, check, credit card. But if they want to use the credit card, they get charged the fee, not you. And you get the transaction in your bank account just like they had paid you via ACH. So it is a beautiful option for you to be able to turn it on, send it to somebody and say, oh, you want to pay with a credit card? No problem. I actually have this great tool that allows you to pay with a credit card, and you can send it to them. And then they know that if that's the convenience for paying with a credit card, is that they're going to get a credit card fee associated. Okay, so definitely check out Melio if that's something that you've run into before and you're trying to figure out how to have that workaround. They also have tools on the AP side as well. I'll put a link to Melio. I am an affiliate of Melio. However, this video is not sponsored. I just like the tool. The next thing I want to mention is that you can also offer discounts for specific things. If you offer discounts like early payment, so you may have heard the term 210 net 30. That means a 2% discount if paid within 10 days, or the whole thing, the full net, in 30 days. Now, I've seen lots of different iterations of different terms. You can do 315 net 45. You can do 315 net 30. You can do 110 net 30. I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you want to give a 3% discount for early payment, or if you want to give a 1% discount for early payment, you can do that. It is your business. You can determine your own terms, and you might give some customers slightly different terms than others, depending on their credit and their history with you. The other thing you can potentially give discounts for is paying via ACH. So if somebody loves to pay with a credit card and you've been accepting a credit card, you might say, hey, I have this option now to pay via ACH with something like Melio, or through your bank or whatever. I have this option of using ACH. If you would like to start using that, I would like to extend a 1% discount to you, or a 0.5% discount to you. And those types of things might make somebody trigger to say, oh, not only it makes it easier for them to pay because now they have this electronic way to pay, but also then they are getting that benefit of a little bit of a discount. So a lot of companies, especially very large companies, say, if there's a discount to be had, take it. And because they see it as saving money. They see it as actually that's money back in their pockets. A lot of these huge companies really have tons of cash. So they are sitting on it and they're just trying to figure out, how do I get the best deals? So if you're working with really large corporations, definitely consider using discounts for early payment and potentially discounts for ACH, or just one or the other, because sometimes those companies have to take them. So it's actually written into their accounts payable policies that they have to take them if they're offered. Okay, the next thing I want to mention is to enforce your policies. Now, this is hard for me because I have a late fee that I say that I use. Now, I don't have this anymore. I don't have an issue with this anymore because I'm on recurrent payments with all my clients. But I have it written in my policies that if invoices are late, I'm supposed to charge a late fee. Have I ever charged a customer a late fee? No, don't tell them, but I've never charged a customer a late fee, okay? And the truth is that trains your customers and clients to have bad habits. If they are going and always being late on something, we are kind of allowing it if we're not enforcing our own policies. So this is a little bit of just kind of business etiquette, business training. And, remember that if you have those policies, you need to enforce them. If you have a $50, late fee, enforce it. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't take it off, like maybe put it on the invoice. And if you're like, hey, somebody said, hey, I was really trying to get it to you, but like it's in, it's coming now, then you can say, hey, this one time I'll waive it. And then it makes them feel like they got something and then they won't do it again, typically. Now, we always know that, you can never fully expect what these things are going to look like, and you use your best judgment and you use your own business principles to apply these things. But if you have a policy about late payments, make sure you're willing to enforce that policy. So if your policy is too strict, change your policy, because if it's too strict that you would never do it, then again, it's training your customers to have bad payment habits, and we don't want that. The last thing I want to mention to you guys, and I want to say, this is not all the tips and tricks, okay? We're definitely going to get into more stuff as time goes on. And as I think of other great ideas and I see other things working out in the world, I'm going to bring it to you guys. So make sure you are subscribed, because I love giving these tips to you. Hopefully this saves somebody some money. It saves somebody some time. It gets more cash in the door quicker. And I just want to help you guys, okay? The last thing I want to mention is that you need to follow the rules of other companies when it comes to getting paid. Okay, so if you have a purchase order coming in and you need to invoice on that purchase order, make sure you read the purchase order in detail. Make sure you understand what that customer needs from you in order to get paid. So are you sending the W-9? Because a lot of times that will have to happen. Are you filling out any kind of vendor information form? Because you are now in their system and you need to get in their system before you can get paid. Do you need to put the PO number in a specific place? Does it need to be addressed to a very specific name? These are the types of things that can delay your cash if you get it wrong. Or if you're just like, hey, I'm going to invoice how I always invoice, and they can just deal with it. They'll figure it out. No. If you are getting paid, you need to follow the rules in order to get paid. Okay? So usually that happens on a purchase order. It'll give you very specific instructions, or potentially some type of vendor agreement, things like that. So just make sure you're very aware, especially if you're working with larger organizations, on what you need to do to make that work and to get paid quickly. Okay? All right. Well, those are my top tips for you right now, or my hot tips for the moment. So I hope you can pick them up and start using them right away. All right. Well, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.